we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun.
Hello and welcome to my studio. My name is Ido Agassi and today I'm making a box for this beautiful antique bottle opener. This is, I think, from the 19th century. Look what an amazing mechanism, and look at the woodwork on the lathe. It opens, goes on the bottle, and then the ring locks it. And there's a spring here to help take it out. And I think this one deserves a box. I'm going to work with leather and with cloth, and the challenge for me is how to connect the object inside the box without it moving, but that it would be easy to take it out. So with a kind of an idea in mind, let's bind. I'll start by taking the dimensions. The metal ring is 4 in diameter. The wooden handle is 9.4, let's say 1.5. And let's see what's the length. I'm lining it up here. So I have here 16. Let's see if it changed the size. No, this doesn't change. Okay, so I'm going to start by cutting a bookbinding board for the inside of the box. So I cut the board into size. I cut it 20 on 11.5. That is because I want 1 centimeter on both sides, and on top and bottom around 2 centimeters. And what I thought to do is cut out a window that only the metal ring here and what's holding the bottle would just have a window and go down, and then the whole bottle opener will sit flat or almost flat on the surface. But before I cut out the material, I want to know which kind of material I'm going to use. So I thought about using leather. One option is go for wine color, burgundy color. And the other kind I thought is maybe to go with this light brown camel color. I think this works better. And for the cloth, let me see. I think I'll go with the brown. It would give like a nice frame to the box, and I'll go with this kind of leather. So let me see what's the thickness of the material. This is around 2 millimeter thick. I'm going to pair the leather, so I'll need to take into consideration about 1 millimeter on each side of the window. So I have a decision, and now I'm going to take my weight and I'm going to mark 5 centimeters. And now let me measure the thickness of these together. This is 1.1. So I'm going to measure 1.3 and 1.3. We'll make another line. And now I'm going to mark 3.6. And I'm going to mark 4.2. Now I'm going to cut it out. So start with this. And I'll make this line. Great. I'll bring 2 weights. There are exactly 20. Nice. And let's see how it goes. It's a bit loose, but I think with the material it would fit nicely inside. So now what I think I would do is connect the perpendiculars for the inner box. Let me move this aside. So I cut the perpendiculars and let's start connect them. I'll take my weights. This would give me a line here, and I'll start with the long ones. I cut the long ones as the length of the box itself, and the short ones are the width minus 2 of those. I hope I'm doing okay by connecting the perpendiculars and then the leather, but I think it would work nicely. Let's see what we have. The next stage, I want to see the piece of leather I need. So this is 2 and this is 20, so I need 24. And if this 11 and a half, so I would need, let's say 16. I'm going just to turn the leather, but this is going to go inside another box, so I don't need to finish it very nicely because that won't be seen, but I do want to go inside and just not inside the box, just on the perpendiculars. I'll bring the leather for cutting. Let me take the box. Again, I want it just to cover the perpendiculars. So this is 2.2, but I'll just line it up with my weights. So this is a nice measurement. I'll put my ruler and cut this one. Good. And now, let's see. This is a nice piece, so I'll put it like this. This here, and cut this one. I'll save it for later because I save scraps. But I want it nice and even, so I'll cut this one also. Great. I'll flip over the leather and I'm going to locate it as I want. So this is 2 and this is 2. And now a pencil won't work. I'm going to mark with a pen the window, and I'm going to mark with a pen all around. That would help me indicate where to put it after dealing with the leather. I'm going to pare it a bit. Great. Now I'll bring a scalpel, but it is not sharp enough, so I'll bring my Alice clamp. This is a nice tool for surgery. It can hold things and you can lock it. And I use it to take off the blade. I'll lift it a bit, so I'm going to catch the blade and take it out. I'll bring a new blade, open it and hold the edge. like this, and then I just slide it in and lock it, and I have a new blade. Now this is very sharp, so what I'm going to do is go from the marked line to the inside and just take off material. I'm going inside in a bit of an angle. Let's do the other side. I'll do the short sides. Remember, I wanted to go down from 2 millimeters to around 1 millimeter, where I'm going to fold the material inside. I feel it's better. Let me see. Yeah. I want to sand the box a bit. Just the edges. I'll bring my weights, so I'll move it until the pen marks here. Now I'm going to glue the board. Now I need not to get confused. This is the window over here. I'll move the weights, flip over. I want to go inside the window a bit. I'll flip it over. Now I want to make a very small detail, but it is important for me. I want to put a bit of leather on the edges here. So I'll move this aside, and I'm going to bring my paring machine. I'll bring the clamps here and connect. 1 and 2. And I'll take the small leftover that I have, and I'm going to just pare. I want a very small piece. This is much more than I need, but if I'm paring, I'm paring. I'll make it thinner. Wow, this is very thin. This is around 0.5 millimeter thick. So I need just a very small piece, and I'm going to cut it as the thickness of my board, around 2.3 millimeters. Just a small strip like this. And now I'll bring the box, and I'm going to paste the leather. I'll take my special pointy bone folder, and I'm going to bring it to the corner and just cover the inside corner. This is such a small detail to do, but this is going to make all the difference in the finishing. Why am I doing this? This is going to cover, when I'm going to fold the leather inside, it is going to cover the corners. And I'm doing it before I'm cutting. Great. Now the moment of truth. I'm going to cut from the corner in an angle. From the corner with an angle. Let's do this one. And let's do this one. And now I'm going to cut between all of them. Great. Piece of waste paper underneath. I'm going to glue it. Now, I didn't talk about the glue. I'm using PVA now because this is regular leather, not vegetable tanned. If I'm going to work on a book with a special vegetable tanned leather, then I'm using paste. Because this is a box and because this is a regular leather, that is why I'm using PVA. Now let's flip over and insert the leather inside, working on the edges. I wanted to touch the edges. I'll flip it over again and I'm going to connect one side and the other side. Flip over again. I have an idea. I'm going to take the piece I cut out and let me take down about 2 millimeters. And here also. Let me see if I'm shoving it inside here. Yes, this would help me with the folding. It's always improvising in bookbinding and in box making. Each time I'm trying to invent myself and find new solutions for problems because the window is so small that there's not enough material to fold it back on itself easily. That is why I feel that it needs a bit of pushing around. I think I'm going to leave it like this inside so it will keep on pushing the material. And I'm going to work on the outside. What I'm going to do is take my ruler and a knife and I'm going to cut from the board here and here and on the other side and here. Now I'm going to leave just a little bit of leather for the turn-ins. Now I'm going to pair the leather around the corner. The knife is very sharp. Let's see what's going on here. Take it inside. Looks good. So now what I'm going to do is glue long side, and short side. Again, I'm not going to insert it inside the box, just the edges, because all this area is not going to be seen. Just to hold the box better. And now, before connecting the small ones, I just want to pair the edge of the leather here. Give it a bit of a bevel. It's a lot of work for something that is not going to be seen. I think that's enough. Glue the short sides. So again, this is PVA and not paste, because this is regular kind of leather, not vegetable tanned, and because I'm making a box and not a binding. Yes, you see, it was worth the pairing that it is without any bump here. Again, this is going inside a box, so you won't see the edges. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. But before, let me check that it's okay before moving on. Ready? Yes. Nice. It's a bit in an angle, but I like it. It's sitting nicely. I have here 2 like I wanted, and 2, and I see you can move it. And here it's a bit crooked. Why is that? Is it the shadow? No, it's the side of the handle. Nice. I would move on to constructing the outside of the inner tray. I cut the perpendiculars to 2.5 centimeters, so they would point out a little bit like 3 millimeters from the inner piece that we made from leather. I'll glue the bottom. I'll sand it a bit. So I'll move on to cutting the cloth. I'm going to cut it 2 centimeters on each side more than the length. And exactly the width. Now I'm going to take my bond folder. I'm going to make a fold 1/2 centimeter from the edge. Let's start covering. Trying to see 2 centimeters on both sides. The reason I'm not covering the bottom is because there's no need. It's going to be glued to the outside box. So I can work with leftover materials or just a small strip of cloth. There's just no need. I feel it's not sharp enough. You know how you change a blade? You just take out the end, break it, and connect again. Yes, that's much better. These sides are going to reinforce the box. I'll bring a waste paper. I want you to see. I'm putting on the board and just the edges with glue. And connecting. Other side, glue in the center and on the edges of the cloth. Let's see what we have. Yes. Now let me check it fits nicely inside. Yeah, I love it. Now I want to make the outside box, the outside tray, and I want to see the exact height I need. And I'm not sure, so I want to show you a trick I'm using with my weights. I'll bring two weights of 3 centimeters, 1 and 2, and let me bring the 2 centimeters, so that gives me 5, and now I can see 5 is exactly right. I have like a millimeter extra, and that would work amazing because I don't want it to move and go out, so 5 would be great. Let me move this and I'll start constructing the outer tray. I'll start with the short side this time, which is the width of the box. Sand it. Just want to take out extra material. It's about 2 on each side to reinforce the corners. I'll glue the perpendicular. I'm starting to get used to all the different angles of holding so you can see. That's nice. Pulling the flap, going inside, up until the bottom side. That would conceal the inside corner. I'm going to bring it until the corner, making sure it's flush here. Again, the reason I'm not covering the bottom side is because I don't need to. The two parts are going to be connected to another kind of a folder for the box, and that is why there's no need. And just on the cloth at the edge, I don't want to go on the edge of this, just on the cloth. From my experience, this is better to do that, because sometimes if you go over the corner, you can see marks. Looks good. I'll hold it like this so you can see in the air. And I'm going to fold it inside. Big piece first. Up here to cover the corner. And the small flap here that connects to the bottom. You see? I'll check everything is fine. Exactly. Beautiful. Now I'll move on to working on the outside folder that I'm going to make with leather. So I'll bring my leather. I'll locate it here. And now I'll bring two weights. One for the upper side and one for the side. And I'm going to make a folder. This would be one side, second side, and the spine of the folder. And I'm going to make a gap of around 6 millimeters between. So I'll bring my glue and I will start with the first board. From the middle to the outside, as usual. Nice. Flip over. And now I need only this line. I'll bring a gap of 6 millimeters. See, it's aligned here. And I'll do the second side. If you're wondering about this brush, this is a 20-year-old brush that I use for PVA. I won't worry about that. I will pull it and then trim it. Now I'm going to work the corners. I'll trim this to 2 centimeters also. Now I'll bring my litho stone. And I want to tell you about the litho stone. Litho stone is a soft stone used for lithography, and you use it in bookbinding when you're going to work and pare the leather with the knife not to damage the blade. What I'm going to do is take my paring knife and I'm going to bevel the edge here, like so. The reason I'm making this bevel is after when I'm going to turn in, it's going to sit one on top of the other and there's no bump here. And the litho stone helps protect the blade of the knife. I'll move this aside. And now I'm going to take my scalpel and I'm going to take off material at the corner. Takes a bit of time, but I want the folding here of the corner to be very, very thin. I have a lot of practice with that, but you need to be careful with your fingers when working with the scalpel, so the knife won't move to your finger. I want it very, very thin, like if I'm going to pare it with my paring machine. Looks good. Let's go to this one. I'm starting by taking material from one direction and then going from the other one. And I'm giving the blade a bit of an angle, but not too much, because then I will cut the good piece. Great. And next step, I want to understand, I'll take two, this is like a knitting needle, but this is brass. I want to understand where I'm going to do the fold-ins, and I'm going to take a bit of material over here also, just in the gap, in the hinge. Again, with the knife, with an angle a bit, taking off material. Let's do this one. See how sharp is the blade? Again, when you're doing it for bookbinding, it's a different procedure entirely. You work with the paring knife all around the edges of the leather, and then you pare it with a spoke shave. But here we're making a box, and I need just the hinge here. And the most important thing is not to go too deep, because then you'll have a tear. Great. We'll start gluing again. I'm using PVA for this one, but if I'm going to work with a vegetable tanned leather, then I would go with paste. I need 2 papers here for the long side. And I'm going to glue the edge of the leather long side first. I'm going inside the gaps here. I'll take the waste paper out. And now, with the bone folder, I'm going to work the edge and like pull and fold inside. Making sure it's connected properly. Now, I'll take these brass needles and go inside the hinge. You see, with leather you can pull the material I'm working the corner now, taking in the material. It's very thin at the corner, that's why I pared it. I'll do the other side. There's the angle here where I pared. Here it goes inside much easier because I pared it also. Flip it over. I think for me it's quite a practice of how to film when I'm working with leather on a fine binding, when I'm doing paring and onlay work. So this is a nice practice because I know a lot of you want to see how to work with leather. Going with the angle here. There are many kinds of leather. This is a regular kind of leather, you know, that you can use for bags and couches and so on. It is not a specific leather for bookbinding like the vegetable tan leather. So it's less expensive. In some of the box projects, I use this kind of leather and it is okay to work with it, but it's not a genuine leather for fine binding. That is why I can work with PVA and nothing would happen. Okay, I'll move on to the short side. Glue the leather up until the end, including the corner here. And now I'm going to move the leather until the nice bevel I made. See how beautifully it becomes? Can work the corner nicely. That's the beauty of working with leather. You can mold it like you want. You can move, you can pull it a bit. And it's flush. The same thickness because of the bevel I made. Let's do the other side. Fold it. Make sure that the bevels are working together and giving me a nice flat result. And then working on the corner. Forming it nicely on this side. Let's work on these again. Great. The next step is to fill in the gaps here and to work on the inner spine. So first of all, I'm going to trim this piece here. Just take it out. So I'll bring a piece of leather for lining the inside. I cut it exactly to the size with a bit of an angle with my knife to give it a bit of a bevel here so it would fit nicely. I'll bring a piece of waste paper and I'll start by gluing the inside here. I'm starting with this because here I have time. I can make sure everything is glued properly. Now I'll glue the leather. That's why I have fingernails. Now I'm going to bring it to one line, making sure it's exactly as I wanted. And now I'm working on the other side. So what I want to make sure is this looks flush and exactly as I want it to be. It's leather, so I can pull it or take it back so it would hit exactly the points. And then I'm going inside the hinge. And now when I'm holding, I'm filling in the side here. This is very satisfying to do when the leather touches exactly at the spot It looks like the same leather. It's so on point. Now I'm going to fill in these two parts. This is a bookbinding board, has the thickness of the leather, just to make an even surface, because the box is going to sit on it and I want the whole surface to be attached. So the outside cover is ready. Let's move on to the next stage. Now I'm going to line up the inside. I'll bring the cloth. See, it's in size. It's okay. I'll bring a waste paper. Put a weight on it. And I'm going to glue only the board here. Up until the end. And now I'll glue only the edges here. I'm doing this because I don't want a lot of glue and the cloth starts moving. So I always aim to glue the thicker material first. Take my bone folder. And I'm going to bring it inside. Flip it over. And now I'll glue the rest here. And connect. I want to line it up. Let's see how it closes. Nice. I'll bring two boards to have the same thickness of the outer box. I'll bring a big weight to hold it in place. I'm looking to see it's even on top and bottom, or the sides actually. It's look okay. Now I'll bring a small weight over here. Let me check. That's where I want it to be. And I'm going to glue the side. I'll change to the big brush, taking too long. I'm working from the inside out. I don't want glue on the edges. And now I'm going to bring it to my weights. Let's see. It's okay here. See that it closes flush. Nice. Now I'm going to connect the other side. As you can see, I put some cloth inside just that it would have a dark brownish when you take it out. Now what I'm going to do is, remember, this side is bottom because of the opening. And I'm going to glue this, the bottom part. Not to get confused, this is like this. And I'm putting it inside. Now I'm going to close it. Move it. And open. Let's look okay. Close is okay. And now some more weights. Okay, let's take it out. One more thing I have left to do is to glue the edges of the tray here. And insert inside. Are you ready for the moment of truth? Let me bring our bottle opener. This is a beautiful object. Look at the shade. Amazing. From an idea to an actual box. Thank you for watching the whole process of making this box, with the working with leather and all the dilemmas I had along the way. Consider subscribing if you are interested in things related to letterpress, to bookbinding, and to box making. And I'll see you in my next video.